Basically, yesterday we were discussing the file access method. We have seen how to utilize the file access method. Just I'd like to remind you what we have learned in the last class fastly. We have seen that whenever we are going to write R, that means we are instructing the compiler or the interpreter that the file which we are going to open will be a text file and it will be open in read mode only. That means we can only extract the record from the file. If I am going to write RB, that means the file would be a binary file and I am instructing the compiler or the interpreter that please open the file in read mode. These two are the default mode. That means if we are not writing any mode, that means automatically the compiler will accept R or RB mode. Rest of the mode are these are the rest of the mode that you can also utilize. If it is R plus, that means the file can be open in read as well as write mode, but the file must be the text file. If it is RB plus, same as R plus, but the file will be the binary file. W is the representation for text file in write mode. WB is the representation for text and binary file both in the write mode. W plus is for read and write mode. WB plus is for binary file in read and write both mode. One by one we are going to access the each and every mode in practical session, and then we will understand what is the difference between all these varieties of modes. Next mode is your A plus, AB and AB plus. I have already informed you there is a difference between write and append mode. When I am opening anything in write mode, that is in the insertion, or just like to insert a data, insert some data inside the file. Insertion is different from appending. When I am using insertion, that means I am having one vacant file. Even the file, if the file is not vacant, compiler will forcefully make it vacant, and in the vacant file the data will be added. But if we are using A mode, that is the append mode, that means whatever the content the compiler is already having, the file is already having, it will remain same, and from the end of the file the new content will be added and updated. So when I am using A, that means we can use the file, we can append the data inside the file, and then we can create, we can close the file. When I am using A plus, that means text file will be open in appending as well as reading mode both. Same way for AB and AB plus. As you are knowing that B is the representation of binary file, AB will open the file in the append mode, that the file must be the binary file, and same way for AB plus. When I am using AB plus, that means the file can be opened simultaneously for appending the data as well as for reading the data. Let's go through the practical session so that you can understand these parts clearly. This I have already informed you. We have seen yesterday also how to use the mode of a function, how to open a file. To open a file, we have to utilize the function open function, in which you have to write the name of the file and the mode. I would like to open the file lvs.txt in the read mode. So I have written f is equals to open lvs.txt. But if your file is, if you would like to open the file in read and write both mode, then you can write here R plus mode. We have already seen all these yes, in our previous class. In the sum of these were the modes that we have utilized. Now let's start the actual work on the file handling. Reading from a file. to read data from the file, Python provides you actually 4 types of functions. The first function is read. The second variety of the read function is read with the parameter n. Read with the parameter n. Third one is read line, and fourth one is read lines. When I will use read function, it will read the entire data of the file. But when I am providing some values inside the read function, that means I am instructing the compiler to write only some to read only some specific characters, and that number of characters we need to put here. If I am writing 5, that means I am instructing the compiler to read only 5 characters from the file. But if I am not writing anything, that means I am instructing the compiler to read entire file at once. If I am using read line, I am instructing the compiler to read the file one line. First line will be read at one time. To read only one line from the file, it starts reading from the cursor up to the up to and including the end of the line character. What does it mean by line character? When you are typing in Word, Notepad, WordPad, anything, and you need to jump to next line, you used to press enter button or return button. The representation of the enter button or the return button in our programming language can be done with the help of slash n. With the help of slash n. So this slash n will be used as the end of line tag. This will be used as the end of line tag. Just wait for 2 minutes. I am going to show this through the example. But when I am going, when we will utilize read lines, that means I am instructing the compiler to read all lines from a file into a list. That lines will be read just like a list. Okay. So one by one, let's check how read, read n, read line, and read lines work. Before going to the practical part, just start it. I am going to start the practical session of reading session, reading functions. This is a file that I would like to this is a file that I would like to create, and the file that I would like to read from the Python, and the file name is LVS. You can see the content. The content is welcome to the class, and this is the programming. You can see the programming. I am using read function. I have opened the lvs.txt in the read mode, and I am using read function. After executing the code, you can see the entire content in your output. You can see here lvs.txt. lvs.txt was the file which was opened in read mode, and this file is being represented by the variable f. F is the file object. Using the f file object, I have utilized f.read function. Due to the f.read function, entire content from the file has been extracted and saved to one variable, and the name of the variable is t. That means first the file will open, its content will be transferred to a local variable, and the name of the variable is t, and finally I am printing the value of t. When I have printed the value of t, you have seen that the output was available, and the output was basically the entire content that was saved in the file lbs.txt. Now I would like to demonstrate the read n function. I am providing the value of n as 10. That means I am instructing the compiler to read only the 10 characters from the same file. The name of the file is lbs.txt. So the output we are getting is WELCOME 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 is the blank, 9th is your T, and the 10th part is your O. So only 10 character was extracted from the file because I have utilized read n function, and the value of n for my programming is 10. This is the uh, content of the file, and the content of the file is basically welcome to the class new line computer science, new line by new line Rohit sir. When I have used 10 characters, you can count the 10 characters is basically WELCOME space TO. That is why you are getting the output WELCOME space TO. So we have tested read n function. Let's run the code one more time. Then I will move to read line and read lines. This was the file. The content of the file is welcome to the class of space computer science space new line by new line Rohit sir. And this was my programming. I have utilized, first I have opened the file, f is equals to open. The name of the file was lbs.txt, and I have opened the file in read mode. It has been opened in read mode. Then the file has been read. The values from the file has been extracted and saved to T. The variable T is having the content that has been extracted from the file lbs.txt, and finally I am printing the entire content of T, and that is why we have seen the output, and the output was the entire content of the file. One thing you need to point out here, and you have to remember it, that whenever you are opening a file, it is mandatory to you to please close it. Whenever you are using any file handling programming, part is the mandatory, one of the most important part, that you have at the end of the programming you have to close it. Otherwise this file will be corrupted, or you are not going to utilize the file in the next program. So whenever you are opening a file, you must close it at the end of the programming. Now go through it. So this way we have utilized our read and function. let's move ahead and find out the readline and readlines function. Now I'm demonstrating the use of readline function. You can see here, it is same programming. Just I have replaced read with read line. Now I am utilizing read line function, and same way the lines will be extracted from lvs.txt, and then it will be saved to T, and finally through the printout of T we are going to see the output that is written inside the file lvs.txt. And finally, as I have already mentioned, that you have to close the file. So the output we got was sorry, this was the readline function. When I'm going to execute the code, we will get the first line of the file, and as we are knowing that in the first line the content that was written in the file was welcome to the class of, and that is why we are getting only the first line of the file, and the first line of the file is welcome to the class of. Now let's see the output of read lines. First I have shown you the output of read line. Now the next and the last one for reading the file is read lines. Let's see the output of read lines. You can see here the output of read lines is welcome to the class of, then slash n, comma, computer science, then slash n, comma, by slash n, comma, Rohit sir. As I have already informed you when I was discussing the readlines function, that whenever I am going to use the readline function or readlines function, it will, how the compiler will find that the line has been completed. The compiler finds through our enter or return button, and the representation of enter or return button is done through slash n. So slash n will be used to represent the new line. This way we can represent our new line, and that is why in a single line you are getting the answer, but this n is representing here and informing you that this here our line has been broken down by the user. Second thing you need to focus here, that how the output is provided to you. As you can see here, the output is here, in which you are getting a square bracket. It is enclosed in a square bracket, and in the definition of read lines I have already mentioned there also that the output which you are going to get from the readline function will come in the form of, what is this? Can anyone tell?
Square brackets.
What is basically? Yeah,
List.
very good. So it is list. So output we are getting in the form of a list. The entire content of the file has been converted into a list. It is very important function. When we are going to solve the board papers, we will see how this function will be helpful when we are going to extract the data from the file based on the board papers. So let's move ahead. If you do have any question, you can ask. Otherwise, I am moving towards the writing to a file. I think now it would be clear to you that how we are accessing the file handling process in Python, because earlier it was only on the paper. Now you can see practically also, and that is the best part I love when I am teaching online. Now let's see how to write inside a file. For writing data inside a file, we are having two functions, only two functions. First is the write function and the second one is the write lines function. Using write function, it takes a string and write it in the file. Simply it takes the string, whatever we need to write inside the file, we will write in as the parameter of the write function. That means we have to write at this position. So if we are writing anything, Ram is a good boy, we will write here, and the content will be written inside the file. The main clause will be the file must be open in write mode. Then only we can write the content inside the file. As you can see here, the second line, for storing data with end of line character, we will have to add /n character to the end of the string. Just like we have seen in read lines function, if I would like to write multiple lines like Ram is, then in the next line I would like to add a good boy, then in between I have to utilize /n. Then only we can write the content in multiple lines. Otherwise the entire thing will be written in a single line when I am writing the things through the write function. Write lines functions are the function which can be used to write and write an entire sequence. What is a sequence? Sequence data type we have seen. Sequence data type is basically list, tuple, string, dictionary, etc. When we are going to write the sequence data types directly in a file, we have to utilize the function write lines. So in general, we will use write, but when we need to write the data and the data is in the form of a list or in the form of a tuple, then we have to utilize write lines. Let's see through the example. First, check the code. Now the name of my file is lvstest.txt. I have opened the file in write mode. I have opened the file in write mode. Now I am writing 3 lines. We are testing write method in Python. All these 3 lines, I am expecting that this will be written inside a file and the name of the file will be lvstest.txt. The first line will be we are testing. The second line will be write method and the third line will be in Python. We have utilized basically /n to represent new line so that the compiler can understand that this line will be written in the next line of the previous output. And before closing the file, I am just for our satisfaction, I am writing one print message so we can see the output message on the output window that the data written to the file successful, because we are not going to see these content on the output window. To check the these content, we have to open the lvs.txt file. So let's execute the code, then check whether the code is correct or not. So you can see here the output that I have already informed you that we are going to get only one output, and the output that we have written through the print command. Now I will check the file, whether the file has been created or not, and whether the file is having the content or not. The file name is lvs.test.txt. It must be saved at the same location. You can see here at the top of my file name, you can see the location. It is written here C colon users smiley app data local program and so on. This is the place where my Python file is stored at the same location, because it is accepting the relative address. That means at the same location this file will be available if it has been created. Let's check the output. So this is the folder in which I have to find out LVS TEST. So you can see here it is available LVS TEST. Now this is the output. I think we are done here. You can see the output. We are testing the new line, write method, new line in Python. That was the same we were expecting. So it has been done through the write method. Let's verify it. This is the content that has been given to lvs.test.txt file. Let's check some new content, whether it will affect the file or not. Now I am adding a few more words. Like in the last line, I have written in Python for class 12. Earlier it was only in Python, now it is in Python for class 12. Let's check again after executing the file whether it will affect the file or not. Save it, run it. Again, you are going to get the output at data written to the file successfully. Again, get back to the folder, open the file, LVS test, check it. So it is perfectly done. We are getting the output in Python for class 12. So now I think it would be clear for each and everyone here that how read and write function works. Now I have already informed you the difference between write and append method. When we are discussing the write method, that means we are opening a file in a blank format. That means when I am re-executing the code, the old content has been deleted, and then the new content was added, because it is in the write mode, not in the append mode. Let's check what I have told to you. Now I am making the two lines in as the comment line format. As you are knowing that, what does it mean by comment line? That means these two lines will not be accessed by the compiler. Now write method, and in Python for class 12 it will not be accessed by the compiler. And in the first line I am adding some few words like we are testing and the test is done. The test is over. Now again save it and execute it. We are getting the same output, data returned to the file successfully, getting back to the folder and checking the file lvstest.txt file. This is the output. So the previous content was deleted, and now due to the current output we are getting we are testing and the test is over. The previous output has been deleted. It has been deleted because we are opening the file in write mode. This is the difference between write mode, and in the coming example I will show you the append mode also. For today,
इस आउटपुट में कुछ चेंज करेंगे तो कुछ चेंजेस आएगा उस कोड में?
बिल्कुल, you can try it. Whatever the output you would like to change, you can just write it to the write method and it will affect the output file. For today, just this is much more for today. Tomorrow I will combine read and write both method, and I will show you how to utilize the append method also.